Good morning, everybody. You are tuned to Computers 2K Now on the Nissan Communications Network. I'm Amnon, your host for the next couple of hours, along with Mike.
And good morning.
And good morning. And Spence is here.
Hello.
Hello. Our number, 919-518-9773, Computers 2K Voice on Skype. And today's show is made possible by vMix Software, Telestream's Wirecast software, and is sponsored by Tom Sinclair of Live Streaming Gear. It is December 3rd. Gosh, we have 1 month and we're into 2018, huh?
And aren't we announcing that new link today? Computers 2K Now. Mind control.
We already
So if you want to have us take over your mind, go to that site and log in, and we'll control your mind.
Well, that site's been around for years. They call it CNN.
Well, true. But they no longer have a monopoly on mind control.
Yeah, the way things are going lately, they're not going to have any.
Yeah, did you see? I mean, two major stories. Brian Ross gets suspended for what he did to the stock market on Friday by announcing a bogus story. And then
I don't see what's any different about every day, except maybe that some people heard it, which would be unusual.
Wait a second,
well,
guys.
because it affected a lot of people's pocketbooks because it tanked the market.
Well, it's disturbing that he has that kind of power.
Oh, sure.
Good morning, Nick.
Oh, good morning.
Good.
Oh, I heard that.
Yeah, when they were talking about it, that they suspended him, I said, this is great. Trump really doesn't need to take down the media. They're doing it to each other. And
I think he's helping.
Well, yeah.
He's helping. Of course. Yeah, he's used all this stuff is just him getting them to look at the things that make them insane.
But the thing is that they're trying to outdo each other with more outrageous story, and they fall into that trap, and it's great.
Yep.
Yeah.
The sad part about it is that it has always been this way, and nothing has changed. It's not that sexual harassment is now at an enhanced level. It is that people are finally beginning to see or giving the benefit of the vision into what's going on.
Then by default, that's not sad, Mike. That's good. Finally. Better late than never. Yeah.
We'll see.
We'll see, I guess. Nick, what time did you finish playing?
3:30.
Jeez. Oh, boy.
What?
Tell everybody what game.
I've been playing Call of Duty for the past couple weeks. New game.
Oh yeah, I heard it was good.
It's pretty good. Having a good time.
What else is going on?
That's it. Have a good week.
All right.
Early outro. So without getting, well,
go ahead.
Never mind.
No, go ahead.
No, never mind. No, I'm good.
Why?
I don't want to talk about it.
You have to talk about it.
No, I'm good.
At this point, you have to, Nick. It's too late.
No. I can't talk about it now. Then I won't be able to talk about it later. It's fine.
Your hat's on backwards.
That's a fact.
You're going to talk about it tonight, you mean, or later?
Yeah. I don't want to talk about it now.
Okay. All right.
That's not
fine.
fair. That's a teaser. Now I'm going to go through the whole day, not being able to wait until 7 o'clock tonight at WFBT's website, WilmingtonBigTalker.com, for Against the Norm.
Updates at 11.
It's the other week he actually left people like on a cliffhanger during the break. What?
That just means he forgot what he was talking about.
Yeah, I didn't have it written down on my script, so I forgot. The script from the CIA was coming in slow that night, so I didn't have.
The NRA had not updated their section of his script yet.
The NSA, you mean, not the NRA?
Well, the NRA.
Oh, okay.
Anyway,
so there's more insanity with net neutrality. We are continuing this fear mongering campaign that somehow, if I always screw up his name. I hate saying it.
Pi
is his last name. Ajit Pai, or I think is how his name is pronounced. A very hard name to pronounce. This fear campaign that if somehow he reverts back to the 2014 rules, the internet will be a graveyard. Yet the internet seemed. I mean, I didn't notice a change between 2013 and 2015 with the internet. So. I mean, the fear campaign continues. It rolls on as Vanity Fair, all Cyber Monday, Twitter, Reddit, and other organizations, FCC to save the internet. I mean, I don't know.
Record sales.
Yeah.
Have you heard him give any speeches or lectures on this subject? He's fascinating. This guy's a smart guy. And his family's being threatened. He's had people picket his house over Thanksgiving. They've given out his personal address. And the guy's being attacked. And he makes a very valid point and very valid. He talks about what was imposed, like you said, Nick, prior to 2014, after 2014. And it's just like the so-called Affordable Care Act, right? The title exactly. Of the original ruling or the original new guidelines in place made it sound like, oh, it's going to make the internet free. It's just why should it? It's the dumbing down of the whole thing. There are people that are going to buy different services, and so what if you pay more? Netflix isn't free. But you make it sound like if you turn this back, that Netflix will somehow you always pay for premium services. It's not you want everybody to get the same bad service, or you want everybody to be able to buy the tier that they want. So it's just I don't know.
The thing that the problem I've been having with it is I've had non-technical people in my life continue to spread this meme that's being propagated by the internet that if somehow literally he reverts it back to most of the 2014 standards, that Google is going to charge you $80 a month to use YouTube.
Oh, it's crazy.
I can guarantee you if Google charges you $80 a month to use YouTube, nobody in their right mind is going to be using YouTube. No, not a chance in hell anybody's going to be paying $80 for YouTube. So what's the problem? I mean, the free market will eventually decide. That Time Warner Cable's already bending me over a barrel for $75 a month to use their internet. So, I mean, what's the price of my internet going to go up even more? I don't understand. I really don't get it.
The problem is when you deregulate things, there tends to be an immediate adjustment in the non-favorable direction, but then the market stabilizes. People don't like any sort of unpredictability in their lives, and they think government provides predictability. I guess it does provide predictability. You know where it's going to end up if the government handles it.
The problem I'm having right now is that the examples I'm seeing from the folks against, they would be for net neutrality. The people that are for net neutrality, they're just so extreme. They're just the most. Oh my God! You're gonna have to pay $150 a month to browse sites like YouTube and Spotify, Netflix. No, you're not, because nobody's gonna pay for that, and those services are gonna have to make it realistically priced. I already pay $10 a month for Spotify. I already pay $7 a month for Netflix. I already pay $4.50 a month for the Pandora Premium or whatever it is. I'm already paying for them anyway. Nobody's going to be paying $100 a month to use that service. There will be a competition that is $10 a month that will put them out of business.
That's why that's why they never started charging. There was a talk that they're going to start charging, or how many people do you know that paid the few bucks not to have ads? I don't know anybody.
On what, on YouTube?
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody uses ad block. I mean,
that's the thing is there will be other sites coming up, which will be much better, probably going to be a lot cleaner if YouTube started charging.
Of course. And and I would be more on board to listening to the argument if it wasn't just the most extreme fear-mongering example. It's the same thing with climate change. Oh my God, if you drive your car to work, New York City's going to be underwater in 2 years. I mean, just give me a realistic argument. I'd be willing to listen to you. But when you tell me that, when I scroll through Reddit and every subreddit is peddling this garbage that, oh, this may be the last time you get to use Reddit before you get your 100 megabyte cap. I mean, that is not going to happen. And if it does, something new will spawn of the internet, right, and it won't be in its current form. 100%.
Right.
It's just very frustrating.
I remember Mike was saying something about, if anybody is complaining about Trump, ask them how their IRA is doing. What did you say, Mike?
401k.
401k. Here is that.
Have you heard the radio ad that's playing in Raleigh about the financial planning services company that says, a year ago it was predicted that Paul Krugman, I guess it was, predicted that the stock market will never survive a Trump presidency. Well, the stock market, something is up 30%. And
my 401k is up 30%.
And it's so funny how the guy in the ad uses that. It says, yeah, and Paul Krugman, his IRA is up 30% too. The one who predicted that we'll never survive. The economy will never survive.
Investing in global warming.
But yeah, I mean, Spence, I think that you could use that as the exact same example as the net neutrality thing. If Trump becomes the president, we're going to pummel out of control. The gas stations are going to run out of gas. There's going to be no electricity, and the supermarket's not going to have any food. Like, give me something realistic, and I'll listen to your argument. But this extreme fear mongering from the left is just, I mean, regular people are looking and saying that's not going to happen.
Well, people don't realize that our current regulations actually promote the protection of this type of stuff.
Yeah.
So if you lock down and create an environment for so-called fairness run by the government, you know what's going to happen. Nothing will be fair, and it will be institutionalized forever. So
yeah, and I wish people could realize that, like, hey, but pre-2014, the internet wasn't some, crazy Wild West,
Just take, for example, look at how many changes there have been in the cellular telephone market. How all of a sudden you had to pay per phone call, then pay per minute. Then you had to, all of a sudden, one thing was free, and text messages, you were limited to 100 a month. The market shakes out.
I mean, I remember when I got my first, I think it was the first iPhone I had, the original iPhone, the iPhone 3. I believe at that point, AT&T did not even offer unlimited text messaging. I mean, that you cannot, I don't believe you can buy a plan that does not come with unlimited texting in 2017. I don't.
Yeah, there's some pay-as-you-go that I think are limited. Take that back. I believe the ones that I've looked at are limited on data, but they're not limited on text.
And I mean, that wasn't that long ago. You mean you're talking first iPhone came out you're talking 6-7 years ago. It's not. I mean, it wasn't really. It's not like we're talking 30 years ago. We're talking a couple of years ago. Literally, not get unlimited text messaging was not available.
And they were dragged kicking and screaming to offer that because of competition.
Yeah, exactly. Because people were getting smartphones and were sending hundreds of text messages a day.
Now it's thousands.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I probably get 150, 200 text messages a month from automated services that send me dual factor authentication codes and alerts and RSS things that shoot me updates via text.
I
If I
get
was
that
paying-
many per month from Amazon telling me that my shipment has been shipped.
Yeah, there you go. It's been shipped. It's out for delivery. It's been delivered three times per package. That's
We
crazy.
received your order. We looked at your order. Your order is on the table. The order is now in the system. The order was shipped. The order's on its way.
Yeah.
The order has arrived at the interim point.
And
The order
each
left the
one,
interim
and each
The
one
order is
is
now
saying,
on the truck.
each
I
one
had
of
to
these.
turn off FedEx. I signed up for FedEx.
Oh,
alerts.
it's bad. Yeah. I
Oh
had to turn
yeah,
it off
it was
too.
at the point where I was like, I just want to know when it's delivered.
Yeah.
So I had to go in.
It's like,
and
oh, the
edit
guy's hanging out at the local Arby's getting lunch. Your package just been delivered.
That's
I
right,
don't care.
Anybody
How-
here on Bed Bath and Beyond's email list as a result of having made a purchase or signed up?
No, sir.
No.
Why? They must be in serious trouble. They're sending out 2, 3, 4 emails a day now.
I believe I bought an Amazon Echo at Bed Bath and Beyond last year. It was the only place I could find it, but I didn't buy it online, so I don't think they have my email.
Well, they send out some really good deals, but they're in trouble. They're
make-
one of the top 10 businesses predicted not to make it through 2018.
If you go into their store, they sell an unbelievable amount of technology products in that store.
I like them. I like them a lot, but the story was that they were way too late to embrace the online aspect of retailing.
Yeah, I wouldn't even if I had to name 10 online retailers, I don't believe I'd even name them.
No, I mean Kmart's toast.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
It's all
Sears may
it's,
be
it's,
toast.
it's all Trump's fault.
No doubt.
But speaking of toast, Toys R Us in the UK is, I believe, closing half of their retail stores in the UK, which is, I don't know how many they have in the UK compared to the US, but half the retail stores seems like a big number.
Anyway, you
they're
look
saying
at
they're
it,
going to
yeah.
start focusing online, which I think a day late and a dollar short for that.
919-518-9773, Computers 2K voice on Skype. Call in. Participate.
Gene wants to know what a good gaming card is for his 14-year-old grandson.
Call in when you got a second, Gene. There's a whole bunch of follow-up questions I'd want to ask you about it. So if you got some time, or shoot me an email, or give Amnon a call, or give me a call.
It'll be a good thing if he calls in here, so other people can also.
Yeah, I would agree. But if he
Get-
doesn't have time, shoot Amnon an email. He'll give you my phone number.
Real competition may finally be on the way for the residential broadband market. Verizon will be the first company to introduce 5G wireless broadband in a select number of cities. This will give residential customers an alternative to cable/fiber offerings. 5G wireless can offer speeds in the range of hundreds of megabits per second, and full technical specification as well as pricing plans have yet to be determined. But the launch is scheduled for the second half of 2018. So to bring wireless is the way to do it. Nobody can really fight it, because what they're fighting now is when a provider comes into town, a new provider, and wants to use the poles. Well, there's no reason to use poles here. And I think this is the latest thing that Google said that they were going to do in many cities. Instead of running fiber, they're going to run wireless. They're going to provide wireless service. So it'll be interesting, to say the least, to see how
I'm
this
not
pans out.
entirely in tune with the difference between 5G and 4G, but for either of those to be a realistic choice for home internet for power users, I mean, they got to fix their latency. If I do a speed test, I've got probably 300 milliseconds ping. Say goodbye to playing any video game on 4G or 5G. Your ping is too extreme.
Yeah, but 300 ping is good enough for you.
I disagree.
That was sarcastic.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. I'm sorry, Mike. I haven't talked to you in a while. You hate me.
That's your fault.
But I mean, there's even video calling. If we all had 300 milliseconds ping, this would we'd be chopping all over each other. That's not realistic. But maybe 5G is different. I'm not sure why. I don't even know why the latency is so high on 4G.
That's.
I mean, it's a line of sight, I believe.
That's an interesting point.
Now, for my grandmother or my parents, it's irrelevant.
Yeah,
it's irrelevant.
Not true. Nobody can use the internet with 300 milliseconds ping for anything other than one or two sites or things to pull up.
Well, I mean, you do it on your phone.
Yeah, but you're not sitting there surfing, going from site to site, trying to learn things or doing shopping. You're typically going to bring up a map or bring up one or two things where you click on it and then you drive a couple of miles and then look back to see if it's come up yet. I got to tell you guys, I might have to give up my seat on Computers 2K now. Because of conflicts that I've been dealing with professionally, I have been on the internet a whole lot less lately, and I sort of like it.
You can't give up your seat.
Well, if I'm not into the internet and computers anymore.
You can sell your seat.
Oh,
all right. Cool.
Yeah, I can put it up for bid.
One Bitcoin.
You mean?
Oh, man.
You mean you like the fact that you're not on the internet as much, or you like the fact that there are
I've actually done other things.
Problems at work.
Yeah.
So you mean you're finding time to do other stuff? Which is great. Absolutely.
Well, yes and no. I mean, it's not that I've just consciously stopped doing it. It's that I've been distracted, very distracted. And as opposed to when I get to the point that I've got nothing major to do at the moment, instead of sitting in here on the computer all night, I might work on something else that only takes 10 or 15 minutes instead of coming in here and sitting for 3 hours.
That's talking to Nick, yeah.
Well, I mean,
I've kind of been at that place for a while. I used to do a lot more. It's rare that I'll stay up here and sit up here until 10 o'clock at night doing something. Although it does happen, but I don't do it nearly as much as I do.
Yeah, but offline though, I mean, you've never really been a power user as far as our group is concerned. You rarely show up in our offline get-togethers.
No, and I don't because I'm probably busy doing other stuff, working. But
yeah, well, that's the thing is you do what you need to do, and you do what you like to do after that. And if all the time is taken by stuff that you need to do, then absolutely. And Mike, I mean,
for me too, so much of my working life was that all day, video conference after video conference, after forum, after meeting online. It was like all I did. I was either hosting something or on something or providing content or something or building some presentation or putting together a training. So it was like, that's all I did. And I had the same setup I have here with XSplit in the background. I used it for work because I was constantly hosting video conferencing, whether it was with customers or internally. So, well, I mean, that's all I ever did.
Mike. Hey, Mike.
Yes, I'm not.
Yeah, you can't give it up.
I was being a little cynical.
No, I'm saying you can't give it up because it'll always be there for you anyway.
Yeah, but if Mike gives up his seat, then I give up my seat too.
There you go. Nick copies everything I do. He wants to be just.
And then Amnon's giving up his seat.
Yeah. And it'll be just Spence.
So I'll just stand and I won't sit.
No seats will be had. Yeah, you're right. You'd be like a news reporter. Stand there.
No, I guess my point was, I know what inspired me to say that. I'm somewhat joking, obviously, but what inspired me to say that is 10 years ago, whenever we had the prospect of going from 1 to 1.5 megabits per second download, that was a big deal. I mean, that was stuff that we would check it every day, do a speed test every day to see if the update was out there. And then when they went from 1 meg to 10 meg, I mean, this was big, big, big. Now, who cares?
Yeah, what do you have, gigabit now?
Well, that's what I'm paying for. That's not what I'm getting.
Yeah.
But to your point, Mike, things have just become so much easier. You're not screwing around with config.sys and autoexec.bat anymore like we used to. We would just sit here endlessly for hours and tweak things.
Yeah, but I'm not sure that we made that much progress because we had more control over some things. Now, granted, a lot of the ugly things are automatic now, and I agree with that totally. But for example, right now when Nick's talking about my speed, that 600 megabit download as opposed to 1 gig that I'm paying for, I logged into a friend's system yesterday or day before. He does a podcast, and I manage his files. And his 1 gigabit internet was just terribly slow. So I did a speed test. And he had 25 down, 950 up.
Interesting.
Yeah. So why am I getting? I'm getting 600 down, typically about 400 up, and here he is getting 25 down and 950 up on the same service. It's just bizarre how poor quality this AT&T Fiber 1000 service.
They installed the wrong fiber at your house. They put in the one-way fiber instead of the two-way fiber.
Well, the problem, I mean, all joking aside, there can be problems with installations, but there have been times when I've gotten 950.
Both ways.
Oh, well, that's the problem with your note. No, it's not.
I just wish I'd had a alternative service here that was worth a snot, because
I thought you did have one. You were using Time Warner and Speculum or whatever their name is this week, and I thought you had AT&T available.
No, it's in my neighborhood, but not to my house. So there's fiber to the neighborhood, and then there's copper plant inside the neighborhood. But that's in some places it's so bad. The twisted pair to my house does not support DSL. I had an engineer come out and check it. We're not pulling any new wire like that. The next thing we'll do will be fiber, and we don't know when that's going to happen.
And so yeah, I'm just thinking that so it's, for you, it's Time Warner or nothing.
For now, yeah, and we're seriously considering cutting, pulling the plug, and I'm looking at different alternatives to do that. And that's something we should talk about.
Like what? Go for it.
Yeah, well, I just got aggravated because I was a new customer with Time Warner Spectrum because I had our service was in my daughter's name when she lived with us. So I was considered a new customer. So when my grandfathering was over and my new customer special expired, my rates went up, and I actually went in there with the equipment in a bag to the office and put it on the counter. I said, "Make me a deal or I'm gone." It was a bluff, but it worked, and I got another extension on the deal. Well, now the deal expired again last month, so we called, and they don't care. They go through this long process. The retention people will just tell you about how bad it is to not be on their service. And that this is what will happen, and it's going to be terrible, and don't you realize how good it is? And it's very frustrating. So we've been looking at it, and I started to research. There's so many different angles to this: the IPTV angle, set-top box angle, streaming only to devices angle.
So you're talking about staying with Time Warner for internet?
Oh, I have to stay with an internet provider, but I wouldn't mind paying $50 a month if that's all I'm going to pay, and maybe pay some other small fees.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
but my bill is up over $170 a month now.
Well, you need to split the service with your next door neighbor.
Yeah, that's it. We'll build our own community TV.
Absolutely.
So started looking at recording over-the-air television in a way that you can watch it on any device. And I did have something called Simple TV, which has since gone defunct. Found out I have the device.
I really would like to know how to do that. I was asking Nick about that not too long ago, and he gave me one of his typical 1 out of 10 above answers.
Oh, well, stop! I have no idea. I said hook it up to a computer.
Well, you should research it. I don't ask questions unless they're important.
Spence research. He did it for us. So what'd you come up with, Spence?
I did find the right box. So Mike, at least from appearances now, it's actually Channel Master.
Well, that's just a brand name.
Channel Master makes a DVR. It's got 2 tuners in it. It's got a non-monthly fee directory that's good for 2 weeks, and lets you record like you do on your current DVR by clicking on the show and saying record. Uh, the it has the base model has no storage built in. You plug in a USB drive. The second model up has 16 gig of onboard storage, and then but you can always still add the USB drive. And it also allows you to stream the content to your devices, and actually supports 30 different streaming services like YouTube and so on in the same box. And the box costs at the Channel Master site, they have a bundle, which is not worth it because it's stuff you don't need, antennas and things like that. But the box at the Channel Master site is $250.
But damn.
For some reason, the same box on Amazon is $3 something.
Yeah, but that's dirt cheap if it works.
Exactly. And I looked for ease of use, that you say, oh, I want to record Oprah or whatever show at 2:00 on Friday, and how hard it would be trying to use one of these Kodi boxes or these. There are a few out there that have recording capability, personal video recorders, but it's so difficult to the interfaces are so wacky, and in some cases there's no directory. There's no channel guide. You have to go in and look at the local newspaper to figure out what you want to record. So I think the Channel Master box looks like it's a winner, although it's a lot of money to spend on a test.
Well, that's why I was hoping you'd buy one and tell us.
Yeah, I'm probably going to get one because I already have the antenna. And the other thing I'm looking at is, it sounds too good to be true, and I've been researching it. It's called Set TV. It's one of several.
To the best DVRs of 2017 posted by CNET. He posted that in chat. I would really like, I'm not going to go through it because I don't know those, but I would really like, if you're going to do research for you, check that out and report back to us.
Yeah, the CNET stuff is a little dated for some, even though it says 2017. You got to be careful that you're not picking an old link, because I looked at some of the boxes were from 2015. There was one box there that does have a personal video recorder built in. I don't remember the name. Truvia or something like that. And there's a lot of competition out there with these Kodi boxes.
I think Truvia is a sweetener, isn't it?
Yeah. No, it's like that. It's a name like that. True TV or there's one I picked out that's got the PVR built in. It has pretty good ratings. That's about $49 or $59. But you start to get into the madness of having all these remotes and all these apps and all that stuff to do you got to figure out, number one, what do you want to watch? You got to make a list. Here are the channels I can't live without. I got to have Home and Garden. I've got to have A&E. I've got to have History Channel, that stuff. Ooh, that's what makes it hard, because those services aren't necessarily in the same bundles.
Yeah, well, I will tell you this. This actually leads into my next comment. There is not a channel that I have to have. There's some I like to watch. There is no honest to goodness, my wife's listening in and she watches NHL and some other stuff she has to have. But if she came to me and she said, I'm sick of all this, let's just get rid of it, I'd say pull the plug. Yep. Would it be an adjustment period? Yes. Would I get rid of the internet? No. But here's the point that I was going to make. You know how we have, and I don't necessarily think it's age related, but as we get older, we certainly have more of these experiences. We will have shifts in our outlooks and attitudes about things. And I've had one in the past week over something about TV that I'm not sure what my long-term reaction is going to be, but short-term, we for a long time, we liked to watch, my daughter, son-in-law, wife, and I used to like to watch The Blacklist on NBC, which is one of the few network shows that we would watch. And the reason we like to watch it is because we really like James Spader. I think he's one of the finest actors that has ever been on television, based on the old Boston legal and LA law days. Unfortunately, he's not as good on this as he was there, but so be it. Having said that, my daughter and son-in-law bought a new house. They would usually come over and watch it with us. And with them moving further away, and one thing led to the next. And so we ended up with a season and a half of these shows on our DVR that we had not watched. They ended up being able to watch it, or either they lost interest or something. So anyway, we're trying to clear off our DVR. So a week or two ago, my wife and I started watching LA Law. Blacklist. Well, something happened and 3 of the shows disappeared. The next 3 shows disappeared off the DVR.
Yep.
Which didn't make any sense because we've never had that happen. It wasn't just a case of it aging off because one of the older shows was still there. So what happened is that, of course, these AT&T boxes, their remote controls are terrible. They have a lot of bounce to it. You could hit delete and not realize that the menu switching in the background, you might delete something. You don't know what's going on. So what I'm getting to is that caused me to look around. Then I realized they're all available on Netflix, which I think somebody mentioned here previously. Well, we went into Netflix and started watching and found out that on Netflix, this sounds obvious to everyone, but there are no commercials. They're not, I thought on some of these series shows that they would force commercials in there. Well, since it's Netflix and you're paying for it, there are no commercials in Blacklist. We have thoroughly enjoyed not having to wind past the commercials. But here's the revelation. The revelation is that these about half, from what I understood, and I can't prove this, but I've understood that about 50% of all advertising on television is prescription drugs or medical issues or drugs. And there's some medical issues in my family that I don't like to constantly be reminded about. I mean, it really just drives me crazy to have to say, are you suffering from whatever it is? Well, yes, thankfully I'm not, but somebody in my family is. And I don't want to sit here trying to watch TV being constantly reminded that this serious condition is there and it's going to always be a serious condition. I'm trying to get away from that. And I will tell you that being able to watch this network TV show without having to sit through all of this drug crap has just been a major, major benefit or bonus to my watching.
You know, Mike, I seriously looked at the whole Netflix question, and we have Netflix and we use it and we watch it. And the original content that they put up there is great because they dump it usually all at once. But the only issue you have to overcome with going with Netflix to watch these series is that it's going to lag 6 months to a year behind. So if you don't care about that, if you can get used to that and bite the bullet and get over that, then
I don't care.
Yeah, and it does in most cases. Why? Who cares? I
don't care. I mean, it's not Who Shot JR, right?
Right. Yeah. I'm a big fan of James Spader and The Blacklist too, for the same reason, because I think he's a fabulous actor. I don't know what it is about him, about his personality, but it's just.
Well, I'll tell you what it is about him. He's if anybody knows him, we may have talked about it. He works extremely hard at his craft. When he was on, I believe it was Boston Legal, he would get real frustrated with a couple of the actors on there because they would go in to shoot scenes and the other actors and actresses would blow their lines, but Spader would sit in his condo rehearsing for hours to be able to go in and to do those lightning blitzkrieg deliveries that he did. He did almost all of those from memory because it turns out that he has very bad vision. It's very difficult for him to read the cue cards whenever he's doing these things. He can't read fast enough to do these.
He can't wear contact lenses, and he has to wear his sunglasses to see. So most of the time he's without his glasses. He's blind as a bat.
So this disability that he has is one of the reasons he's as fantastic as he is. So when he does these on LA Law, he would just do this and what was so funny is one of the best ones he ever did was whenever he had what was this Fruit Loops name, Al Sharpton, on as a guest on the show, and it was a fabulous episode. It's on YouTube, so if you want to watch Boston Legal with Al Sharpton, but Spader, he could deliver things that you just can't read that fast, and he would practice talking. It's the same thing with this guy on what's his name on Sheldon. What's the show for heaven's sake?
Big Bang Theory.
Yep. What's his name in real life? Jim.
I have no idea.
Oh, I know who you mean. Yeah.
Yeah, you do. What's his real? Anyway, people look at him as being this same type of actor, but what he does is he would, whenever he was trying to perfect his ability to speak and his diction, he would actually practice his lines with a pencil in his mouth, trying to articulate his words and to say the words and the consonants and those sorts of things, the hard consonants, with this pencil in his mouth so that he could train his tongue to among other things, to be able to articulate his words correctly. So
Modern day Demosthenes.
Can
Yeah,
we come back
exactly.
to this because we have a caller online?
no, we're done with it. Go ahead.
Good morning.
Good morning.
This is Gene.
Hey,
Hello,
I'm
Gene.
calling about that gift. I'm calling about that gift card you told me to call in on.
Yeah, Nick is away from his mic, but we'll give it a
Oh,
second. He'll
shoot.
come back. Oh, there he is. He's here.
I'm here.
Yeah,
I'm
Nick?
here. What's going on, Gene?
Okay, I was asking about a good gift card for my 14-year-old grandson who's a gamer. And what he
Okay.
has is he has a CyberPower made computer that he made up. It's got 8 gigabyte of RAM and a GTX 1060 6 gigabyte graphics card, and pretty good power. Let's see. He uses a Logitech Protus Spectrum mouse. What else do you need to know?
So, you're looking for a gift card, not a video card.
Right. Well, yeah. And by the way, we just got him a Vive audio strap with the Vive Streamer virtual reality.
Oh, the Vive. Okay. I would
Vive.
get him a Steam gift card.
Yeah, that's what he uses, Steam. Okay. So
Yeah, I'd get him.
think,
You can buy it at Walmart or Target, or you can't buy them on Amazon. They don't sell them on Amazon, but you can buy them in pretty much any store that has a electronics section. Best Buy, they'll have a Steam gift card. I think you can buy them in $20,
Okay.
$50, and $100 increments. I think that's what they sell.
great.
now.
Okay, that's what I wanted to know.
Well, that's easy enough.
Take care.
take
See you later,
care,
Gene.
Gene.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, if you have somebody that plays PC games, Steam gift cards are always great. Steam is the marketplace that sells all of the games, so it's a very
Well, I
easy
mean,
way
you
to
can buy
purchase the
games.
You don't have to buy the disc.
You can buy games other places, but Steam is
Well, not for
where-
PC. It's very it's very limited. Most PC games are not available on disc, so you have to purchase them on a marketplace. Because I mean, realistically, people don't want to use a disc. They want to have the digital
Yeah.
key.
Yeah.
So Steam is the marketplace. And if you ever go to a Target or Walmart, you'll see in the back of a video game case see some Steam gift cards.
Sorry.
What?
I forgot he didn't disconnect. Never
Oh,
mind.
okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, you'll see little gift cards with a Steam logo.
Okay. Are we done discussing cutting the cord and alternative TV?
Yeah, Jim Parsons.
Well, sort of. It's just that be wary that there's a big if you look at forums, you look at Reddit, look at other places, just there's a huge disagreement over whether IPTV in general is legal, because
Yeah.
the prices are so much lower. The set TV is $20 a month, and they advertise 500 channels, and they include HBO and all these other premium services. And you look at that and say, how is that possible that they could do that? So, without having tried it, and they do have their own set-top box now. So be wary and pay attention. They're offering now it's pay as you go by month, but you can buy bundles like a 6-month bundle and save $10 if you order it by 6 months. So that's the stuff I'd be really wary of is signing. If you're going to just pay a one-time $20 charge to try it for a month, they do have a 3-day trial. But there's found out about this through Pam's work. Somebody there has it, and it says their whole neighborhood is using this now, this service, and everybody's thrilled and loves it. So it's like the discussion, and we go back to Nick's comments earlier, is that people on Reddit are saying, "Oh, it's completely illegal. There'll be somebody knocking on your door and arresting you." It's like, yeah,
Yeah,
I
exactly.
don't think that's going to happen. You can pull your receipt out and say, "Look, I'm paying for this, and they're telling me it's legal. So what am I doing wrong?" Go after them, not me.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't think for a second those IPT services are legal, because I mean HBO doesn't sell their service a la carte. You have to buy it directly. But I mean, at the end of the day, you know what
You
what
look
are
at
you gonna do?
you look at their channel list, and all the NHL channels,
Yeah.
all basketball, baseball, football. It's just how can you possibly get this for $20 a month?
That's what.
Explain something to me at a business level. Go ahead and finish your who was that? Amnon? Go ahead
Yeah,
and finish
I was
your
going to say
comment.
this is exactly how much Time Warner's supposed to charge us. They're just inflating it.
No.
The subscription fees that they're paying that's what keeps these companies afloat. We're all paying for Al Jazeera America.
ESPN, which is the
Yeah.
same thing.
Yep. Even though we don't watch it.
So go ahead, Mike. You were going to.
I'm just trying to understand from a macroeconomic level. I mean, how many years did it take for cable TV to establish itself as ubiquitous throughout American life? And I'm thinking about whenever cell phones really started catching on and the plans became conducive to it being a primary telephone, then people started taking out their copper lines. Right now, there's a copper line phone is a rarity at a home. People just don't use them anymore on a large scale basis. I see that same type of erosion happening with cable television, not internet, but cable television. I mean, if I were on the board of directors with Speculum or one of the AT&T, and I'm saying, guys, we've got a problem here. What are we going to do about it? And it appears to me that these companies, what they're going to do about it is saying, screw you. Where does it end up?
I don't know.
Good point.
Clearly, it's not a concern.
It has to be.
It can't be for them. They are making so much freaking money that I mean, honest to God, I don't think they care.
Because to again use the comparison of copper phone lines, when I said, wait a minute, you guys, AT&T, you are copper phone lines. This is who you are. This is what made you big. This was the big control that you had over the world. And the guy told me, he said, yep, we're losing 5,000 people a month in Wake County. And I said, how do you like that? He said, we don't like it. We're concerned about job security. I said, well, how does the company feel about it? He said, the company's thrilled because it costs too much to maintain copper. They're glad to get out of it.
Yeah, there you go.
I have to wonder what Speculum doing. I mean, at some point, do they realize that their TV is going to be in trouble? If you don't think it's a problem, go stand in line, which is what you will do anytime you go to Speculum here. Go stand in line and watch how many people are bringing in their equipment and turning it over to them.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm in full agreement that it's a problem, but they have made zero effort, I think, to play to do anything. I mean, I get a thing from them every month in my email. Oh, add cable television to your bill, and I've contemplated it a couple of times. It'd be nice to have some channels like ESPN and Fox and stuff for sports or whatever I want to watch. And I look at it. My cable bill, I think, is $50 a month right now just for internet. And I look, and they'll charge me an additional $75 for TV. Why in God's name would I pay for that?
Well, there might be one show that you have to watch in real time that's on HGTV.
I mean, that's they don't even attempt to.
I think Mike is being sarcastic. You have to watch it.
No, I know, but I'm saying they're not even attempting to be competitive. $75 a month for base cable with one box.
What's the alternative?
The alternative is nothing. That's why I don't have it. But
here's a clue as to their attitude. And I heard about this last night at a neighborhood gathering, saying if you are on Time Warner billing, which we are still here in the triangles, you are able to still get the 6-channel DVR. If you're on Spectrum billing, they don't offer it.
Say that again.
If you are still on the Time Warner billing system, or you have a 6-channel DVR, which I have, and if you get switched over to if you are on Spectrum billing, like in the Midwest, I'm looking at forums now, and you want to go and say, I'd like the 6-channel DVR, they do not offer it because their infrastructure does not support it, and they don't intend to support it. They don't want to. So 2 is it, max, for anybody that's coming from Spectrum land.
What are you saying? The ability to record Comcast? 6 at one time?
What's that?
Are you talking about the ability to record 6 at one time, or are
Yeah.
you talking about 6 independent type boxes?
No, six. The ability to record 6 channels at once in the same box, DVR. So that technology still is available through Time Warner if you're still on the Time Warner system. They haven't integrated fully into Charter yet. So
Well,
it's like, why would they want to take away features from their customers? Because
only
they
to do with
don't
money.
care.
It's only money.
Yep. They don't want to invest in building a head end that can handle this. So Time Warner did. So they're going to let you keep it. They say, as long as the box lasts, you can do it, because they already built it that way. But
I mean,
it's amazing.
It doesn't make sense at all. I mean, because also it's not just this that is not available with Spectrum. If you switch your billing to Spectrum, they don't offer 300 megabits.
Nope, not available.
Only 200.
They don't offer whole house DVRs either.
I mean, it's the same company. I mean, you're staying with it. It's just the billing.
Yep.
So, yeah, you're right. It doesn't make sense.
I remember looking at what Spectrum offers. One internet tier. One. There's no like cheap $20 one that is one internet tier, and it's like 100 by 10. That's their internet tier they offer. There's no upgrade. There's no options. It's just called Charter High Speed Internet. That is the one plan that they offer. 100 by 10.
Well, that's all you need.
And then you look at Time Warner, and they offer what? They used to offer 3, a base, a higher up one, and then a turbo. Or an
Brent made a good point.
Who made a good point?
Brent.
Oh, but
you get free McAfee antivirus with Speculum.
Yeah, that's a valid point. You know what? I negate everything I just said. Sorry. I'm incorrect.
Merle wants to know, what does the normal consumer need?
I don't know. Merle should probably jump in, and then we can talk about it.
Yeah, they only need 640K of RAM, according to Bill. What's his name?
Bill Gates, Chicken Neck.
But you see, I mean,
hey, you want me to do an on-air startup of my old IBM PC-1? I can drag it down from the attic and set it up in the background here if you want.
Oh yeah, that'd be great.
It's got
Mike, my take. My take on your question, Mike, about what is Time Warner, what is Speculum doing about this, that people are cutting their cord. There is one thing that they're banking on. I mean, you may go and see that there are 500 people a month turning their stuff in, but at the same by the same token, there's probably people that are subscribing, and they are banking. They're banking on one thing: the public, in general, is lazy.
Exactly right.
You want to have something. Either you don't have the time, and the truth is, with everything that Spence and Nick are talking about with the alternative, it takes time, it takes knowing how to do it, and it takes away from your daily routine. So you said, oh, well, maybe I'll do it next month, and you don't. And, oh, I'll do it next month, and you don't. You just keep on
you
paying.
You can say that, Amnon, but I'm telling you that $300 a month for internet and TV is a lot of money.
It's a lot.
There are a lot of people who cannot afford that.
Right.
But there are people who are getting it because they are on some type of benefits. That was what net neutrality was going to do, was say it's unfair that someone can't afford to have the best cable service. So in order to do that, in order to make that fair, they have to dumb it down so everybody has the same lousy cable service.
Mm-hmm. That's socialism.
Yeah, well, that's what it is. It's redistribution.
Well.
Okay.
It'll have to change. Sooner or later, it'll have to. I mean, the minute we have somebody else in the area here, and all we can talk about is immediate area. The minute that you have somebody else that is available, I mean, it's not like we don't have competition. We do have competition. But the competition is not available to everybody. They are available in certain parts of the city.
And that is just awful. That can't happen. That's just not fair. If you live in Alaska in the wilderness, it's so unfair. They're going to have to run a fiber to your house 300 miles just to make it fair
And charge it to the people in North Carolina.
That's right.
Well, Amnon, you made an interesting point about people being lazy or complacent.
Yeah.
My
That's a better word.
grandparents live in they live in a 1-bedroom house. They have one TV with one cable box and Time Warner's slowest internet. Their bill is $180 a month.
Jeez.
Because they have not changed their bill since they've probably had the same billing cycle for 15 years. And I've literally been telling them my parents' bill with 4 cable boxes and the highest internet is $175 a month. And I've been telling them for a year, telling my grandmother for years to go to the Time Warner store, and you will literally save yourself $70 a month.
Just call in as them, Nick.
I mean, it's just ridiculous.
That's what everybody else does. Call in.
And I'm sure there's a whole bunch, and I'm sure most people their age that haven't moved, they haven't switched their service. My grandmother just writes a check and puts it in the mail every month for Time Warner. That they are just bending those people. I mean, they don't even offer the stuff that they're paying for anymore at the price, but they were probably paying $90 a month for the slowest internet package. It's now 15 or 20 or whatever it is. It's just crazy.
What's clear from what we're seeing is there are a lot of people out there that run companies, and they're just people, and they make mistakes, and they don't read the market. They don't anticipate things, and they get left behind. Toys R Us and Kmart, all that stuff, and they try to come up with a solution, and they just miss the boat, and it's too late, and that ship has sailed. So the same, how do we know? Maybe the whole Charter thing, out of desperation, they bought Time Warner Cable, and it was both of them were sinking ships, and they don't even get it. That could be they're just so inept that they don't realize that their days are numbered.
Well, maybe not.
The TV commercials make it sound like other than that, but
what I'm saying is that they apparently have knowledge we don't have. They do not appear outwardly. They do not appear concerned about what appears to be the inevitable plight of cable television. It's not worth the money. I said that whenever, and I maybe even here, whenever the telephone lines started going away, and they started $59 a month for a home telephone line. I said that the people can't afford it. You know, I'm very lucky. I can afford it, but I am not about to afford it under no circumstances, because it's only all spam calls now anyway. So I moved it over to a VoIP service. And now when you dial my home phone number, you're going to get voicemail. If you want me to call you back, you leave a voicemail. If you don't, then that number's useless.
No.
59, it's 55. How much am I paying? $49 a year.
A year. Yep.
By the way, Spencer, you decorated your house for Christmas. Tish really likes your.
Yeah, I hired this company to come in. It was great. They just put up green screens all around my living room.
Right.
So we sit in a room that's all one color. It's great.
I saw a company. I was out getting lunch with somebody the other day. There's a company called Hang My Christmas Lights or something like that. You guys ever heard of this before?
Signs on it. We see signs on the side of the road here. We'll set up your lights for you. It's companies, yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember. It was We Hang Christmas Lights or something like that. And I guess you put in your zip code and you can pay people to come and hang up all your lights. It's an interesting idea. If you have a big house and don't want to put up all the lights.
Or you can buy that little bitty thing that you put in the yard.
Nah, that thing's lame. That laser that shoots on the house.
Yeah.
Nothing like individual lights.
Savage Pagan was saying that, can you imagine how it would be without satellite TV? And that's something I meant to mention a while ago. A mutual friend of mine and Nick's just flipped over to DirecTV. It's going to be for cost, and he's a millionaire. So it's going to be interesting to see what his interpretation is. I was over at Sam's Club a month or two ago and was flagged down by one of these DirecTV sales guys, and I was particularly angry with AT&T at the moment for charging me for channels they weren't delivering. So I started pulling his chain and so forth, and during the process, I listened to his pitch. If everything he tells me is correct, they're about the same price we're paying, but they seem to have a lot better service than you can get from AT&T or from Speculum, and they are not nearly as compressed. The video is not nearly as compressed. I believe they're delivering full 1080p video on some channels.
But Spectrum says on their ad that satellite bad, Spectrum good.
Well, you got it. You're right. I don't know what I'm thinking.
It's the simplest ad campaign you can have. It says competitor bad, we're good.
All right. So they are correct that there are some atmosphere, and Nick's a satellite expert. He can testify to this, that there are certain conditions under which satellite reception is not optimum, such as sunspots that occur whenever the satellite is directly between the receiving antenna and the satellite transmitter. That's a problem. It's a signal to noise ratio that causes a problem.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe once or twice a year you have a problem. Having said that, guess what? Speculum has troubles too.
When it rains.
More than twice a year.
Now, let me tell you, though, I will say this, you don't have to worry about this down here, but up in the Northeast, having a dish means every time it snows, you're out there every few hours wiping off the physical dish itself, not the LMB, the dish, because it piles up with snow.
You should get a heater.
I don't know. They do offer heaters for big dishes. You can put coils
Nick,
on
you
it.
can afford to hire somebody to stand out there and keep it clean for you.
Yeah,
That's
pay some kid from the neighborhood that's off from school to sit out there with a brush.
Call 911 and get the fire department to come do it.
Oh, Jesus.
That's right.
Yeah,
My cat is strapped on top of my satellite dish. Where? Under the snow.
yeah,
So
see,
brush it away to find the cat.
depending on, obviously, it depends on where you live. Some people, like a couple people in my neighborhood, their dish was in their backyard just on a pole. It was, 6 feet off the ground. My grandparents, based on where they live, their dish is, it's up on the roof. You have to climb out a window to get to it. So when it snows, I mean, that dish isn't getting cleared until it melts.
Well, global warming is going to solve it, so that's not a real concern.
And what they do is they pay for the basic Time Warner package. When that goes out, they flip over to the Time Warner and they get their basic 60 something channels.
But in upstate New York, you are at a higher latitude, which does present more challenges for satellite than it does down where we are.
Yeah.
Up in Alaska, the satellite dishes are pointed at the horizon.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Spence,
They don't
you
collect
ready?
snow as much.
Spence, you ready to do the specials?
I am.
All right.
Are you ready for the specials?
Everybody is, I guess.
Are you eagerly anticipating?
Eagerly.
All right. Here we go. Computers 2K Now specials for December 3rd, 2017. And Amnon, on the first page, the picture, I'm going to order you one of these electronic computer brains for $4.99. It says it's educational, it's fun at parties. Can you imagine? Solves riddles and even tells fortunes. And look at the thing. What is it? Is it like a bunch of marbles that drop down through a track or something here?
Spence, I thought the first picture on that was one of those electronic ovens that you use to like desolder something. Right? Where you desolder like a convention toaster on. That's exactly what it looked like. I was like, oh, look, it's a desoldering oven.
Yeah, and for those of you who don't remember the picture of the IBM computer, that's a PC Junior. And I had one of those, and they didn't sell well to the general public, so IBM unloaded them on their employees. But you had to go down to Computerland to buy it, and they had a rush on it on accessories at Computerland just before and after Christmas that year that they sold these to employees, because we needed to get sidecars that had sidecars, what added memory and printer ports and serial ports and so on to it, modems. And oh boy, that was an adventure. I remember that's where I would stay up till 2 o'clock in the morning playing Gato, that submarine game, on the PC Junior. Oh God, a long time ago.
All right.
Okay, starting with laptops. At Best Buy, we've got a Lenovo Yoga 2-in-1 touchscreen laptop, Intel Core i5, 100 off for $649.99. Office Depot has HP Pavilion 15.6 inch i5 for $449, which is 200 off the regular price. Staples has a laptop from HP, Intel Pentium. This is the Pentium quad core for $299, 120 off. Desktops, we have at Best Buy a Lenovo Idea Center AMD A9 processor, which is a quad core, 4 gig of memory, $329.99, 50 off. Office Depot has a Dell Core i5 desktop for $499, which is $180 off. And there's another Lenovo Idea Center at Staples. This is AMD A9 also for $299, which is $100 off the regular price. I've installed several of these Lenovo Idea Centers, and they're even smaller. It's almost an embedded computer, fanless micro desktops, and I'm very happy with the performance and the quality of the machines. Good prices too. You can get a lot of different pre-built options built into them. Tablets. We've got a Samsung Kids Galaxy Tab E 7-inch at Best Buy for $69, which is $60 off. Dell 11.6-inch Intel 2-in-1 laptop tablet touchscreen for $299, which is $100 off. That's at Office Depot. Staples has a iPad 9.7-inch 32 gig for $289, which is $40 off. Hey, sales on Apple devices, amazing. Did anybody hear about what was that latest? What's the latest version of iOS out there? Not iOS, but
11.
No, not iOS. The Mac OS
Sierra
has some serious.
Oh, yeah, I got that after the break.
Patch. Yeah, my Mac laptop is no longer able to upgrade. I've reached the end of my upgrade path, so I'm sitting at. I guess I'm on. I don't remember what I'm on.
10.
But still working okay. All right, networking. Best Buy has a Netgear DOCSIS 3.0 cable modem for $99, save 10. Office Depot Office Max has the TP-Link Deco whole house Wi-Fi system for $209, which is $90 off. That's a good deal. Staples has the Google Wi-Fi AC1200 system, whole house Wi-Fi for $284, which is $15 off. Big deal. But storage, Western Digital 4 terabyte external USB 3.0 at Best Buy for $99. That's $100 off, half price. And getting back to less high tech, but still necessary. You don't see a lot of deals on buying sleeves of DVDs, but if you need one, and I'm running low, I think I'm down to the last 20 or so discs. Verbatim DVD-R spindles 100 pack for $21.99. That's half price, save $23. Staples has a 1 terabyte 2.5-inch laptop drive for $49. That's $20 off. Accessories, Logitech has a nice line of speaker systems that are either USB powered or wall wart powered, but fairly good with it. And this one, I looked at this one in the store. I was thinking about getting one for a desktop, and it has a little remote control puck it's wired, but it lets you control everything without having to reach down and do anything with the system. It's got a subwoofer. So it's a 2.1 system, $26.99, $13 off. Office Depot Office Max has a 900 VA battery backup system for $79.99. That's $20 off. And if you need an extra, or have lost your 90-watt power supply for your laptop, Targus 90-watt universal semi-slim. It's not slim. It's semi-slim.
Semi-slim is fine.
So
I'll go for
lost some
semi-slim
weight, but it's not down to its ideal weight, I guess. But it's $49.99, $15 off. Monitors. We have an AOC 21.5-inch monitor at Best Buy for $99.99, $30 off. Office Depot Office Max, we have a Dell 22-inch monitor for $99.99. It's $50 off. And Staples has a 21.5-inch LED HP for $99, which is $50 off. Printers and scanners. We've got a Brother desktop monochrome laser printer with wireless and duplex printing for $89.99, say $40. If you're going to get a Brother laser printer, you can get cheaper ones. They're usually USB connected, and most of them do duplex now automatically, but I would go with the one step up, which is this printer. More duty cycle, and because you get wireless, you have that much more flexibility. It does have an Ethernet port also built in, so Ethernet and wireless. $89.99, say $40. This is an interesting little device. I use my label printer quite a bit, but if you want the ease of printing from a cube, it uses the same label supplies from Brother, but you can print from your smartphone. Now, that does not mean you can import graphics in. It's not a color printer from that. It prints the same as you would with one of these standalone portable printers. So you're limited to 2 lines, you're limited to certain fonts and sizes, but it certainly is easier to do. And it's not bad. The price isn't bad, $44.99, which is $15 off the regular price. Canon Image Class Color Laser Printer, $184.99, $95 off. That's at Staples. Home automation and security. We've got a
Hang on a second, Spence. Going back to that color laser printer, I've looked at these things time and time and time again. And whereas the original purchase of the equipment is not so bad, the real challenge on these things is the consumables.
Yes.
So the question is, how do we determine which color laser printer to purchase?
When we bought the Dells, I still have my Dell.
Yep.
Me too.
Which I don't know who makes it for Dell. I'm not sure.
I used to know, but it's one of the biggies. I believe it's Lexmark.
Yeah, probably. So I did, before I bought it, I checked out what the supplies cost, and they were reasonable. They weren't outrageous like some of the early, what was the one that you had to melt wax sticks into it? You remember that?
Probably, I don't remember, but I remember.
HP or something like that. It was really expensive. But this, so yeah, it's a good point to go out and look at this and look at the supplies. Because usually they'll come with starter size supplies. Which
I mean, the supplies are as expensive as the purchase of the printer.
In many cases,
depends.
Yeah.
But I think these are becoming more and more popular now, and the quality has gone up. Now they're not going to print high resolution photographic quality, but they will print very nice comparable to inkjet printer printing a standard resolution. They're very close.
So the question then becomes on this Canon image class, do you have any feel for the consumables on Canons? Because, I mean, some of these things, you got to be careful. I mean, Merle posts on here, you can get that same printer on Amazon for $84.99. I'm assuming he's talking about the Brother monochrome printer. But you got to be careful with Amazon because from what I can tell, and this part I think is important when you're looking at these things, Amazon has got some sort of technology where you automatically reorder your overpriced supplies from Amazon. It's automatic you've got a network connected printer. And if you turn that off, then there's some problems and something. Anyway, I'm just not interested in that. I've got a 5100 Dell color laser that I really like. The supplies I bought on eBay. I mean, the toner cartridges last forever, but it's worn out. It probably needs $500 worth of work if the parts are even available.
And how much was the printer?
I paid $50 for it.
Used,
yeah.
Yeah, well, look for another one. You're
One thing
happy
I want
with
to point
it?
out is everybody, and Merle, is that when we go over these specials, this is by no means endorsing buying this product from this place. This is just an easy way to go and look and see what's out there for sale.
Well, I think Merle was volunteering to offer the lowest price. You need to forward him the
Yes, I will do that, and I'll forward it to you at 8:45. And we need it by 9.
And and by the time at 10 o'clock, he'll have us a report on where the lowest price available is on any item that you've selected.
Now, this really, I look at this as discussion points. I've thought about expanding it to other retailers, but I'd never finish. As it is, it takes me an hour and a half, an hour and 45 minutes every Sunday morning to put this together.
We need to go out there and research for ourselves if we want to get
no, but I mean,
deeper.
Again, Mike brings up a good point to say these are to drive discussion.
Yeah.
And compare that. But every once in a while, I'll see something in this ad. So that's a good price. And I'll check on Amazon, and Amazon is the same price or maybe $1 less, or it comes out that with tax locally, I can get it for the same price today and walk in and buy it. So it all depends.
Yeah.
It all depends. Yeah, I'm not saying that these are fabulous deals. Fabulous. Where were we
You were
Yeah,
started
we're
talking
talking
about.
the
about-
Canon image class color laser. All right, home automation and security. Best Buy has the Night Owl 4-channel, 4-camera, indoor-outdoor wireless 1080p. That's why this is more expensive. You need to understand that whenever you buy a wireless version of one of these systems, it's going to cost more. Now, keep in mind that you do need to run a wire to these because they are powered by another power source. The battery-powered ones, you need to take a lot of care in how you install them. If you get what I think Netgear makes it, and several other companies make these battery-powered wireless systems, they usually aren't for continuous monitoring because the batteries would never last. They're only for I optimized for motion capture. But wireless certainly does make it easier in some cases. But if you're going to run a wire, and you have access to bringing a wire from the camera all the way back to the NVR, then I would go with one that's either what they call hybrid power over Ethernet or coaxial powered, because it's just so much simpler and it costs less and it's less things to go wrong. Now, when you do put in a wireless camera that's powered, you only have to run it back to the closest power source. So that might make it easier. But if you're running wires through the attic and you can bring them back to some central point in the house, I would do that. What I did to install mine is all mine are fed through the attic. I put a patch panel on either side of a wall that goes from my office into the stairwell that goes up to my attic. So now I have a 4-way patch panel on either side, just maybe 6 inches from each other. That's just a pass through for the cable. So now when I'm done with this system or I want to change it out, I don't have to pull any new wires. As long as I use the Ethernet-based power over system, I can just swap out the parts and not have to worry about dragging new cables to the wall. Night Owl is one that's carried by some of the warehouse stores. And if you watch their ads, they might have a good deal. This is not necessarily a high-tech product, but we're the category here is home automation and security. And this was a good deal on a keypad safe. I have a keypad safe for something other than, it's not designed, I won't say what it's for, but it's not designed necessarily for documents. It's for something else that you need to be able to get to in a hurry. And the ones with this is a standard keypad. I have one that's, it's not biometric, but it has an imprint that you put your hand in and you can press the buttons in the dark, which is very good. So 30% off, which makes it $80, normally $114 for this Sentry safe. And finally, Staples has online clearance. These are not available in the store, but the Vivitar brand of Wi-Fi controlled 120 volt switches. Now they have 3 different types. They have one that's a plug-in that's got USB charge, one that's a plug-in that's just a receptacle, and one that is a wall-mounted interior wall-mounted switch. They're all $13.59 on clearance, 66% off. This is not a real fancy high-tech home automation system, but if you want something simple to control a few outlets or some lights that you can control from your smartphone, this is pretty cheap. And finally, I just put this up here, Product Focus, just because I liked what I saw today.
Wow.
If you want to build a nice gaming environment for driving, Logitech G920 Force racing wheel and a shifter and pedal set. You can buy it as a combination, $300-something bucks. And then they've got these unbelievable cockpit seating arrangements you can buy that accommodate the steering gear, the shift, and the pedals. And that goes for $300-something. And then Amnon, this is the thing though, 49-inch curved gaming monitor, $1,400. So this is where I want you folks to crowdfund me to build this, and I'll report back how I like it. Does that sound good?
Wow.
Crowdfunded him, and I'll just buy it. He's got
That's
plenty
it.
of money.
Yeah,
I don't
right.
see the problem.
I'll be right back.
Currently unavailable.
Amnon, could you put your credit card number in the chat for us so I can get to it? Don't forget to include the security pin. That's it for Computers 2K Now specials for December 3rd, 2017.
Boom.
If anybody would listen to one of the very early shows that we did back in 93 or 94, and John Cox was on it. He was my neighbor, and he had something just like this back then in his room. Now he was still is a pilot for, now I think he's with Delta now, I don't know. But he had that whole thing and that chair that would vibrate kind of if you get into situations. It was unbelievable.
Wow. I had the Logitech yoke that you could clamp to the desk to fly.
Mm-hmm.
And I had the pedals, which I was always disappointed in because the pedals were not, when you're flying a real plane, you push on the right pedal and the left pedal rises. They're actually connected to each other, so that you can't push. You can tilt both of them forward at the same time to apply the brakes. But as far as actually moving the rudder, as you push down on the pedals, they're attached to each other. So you have to let up on one to push the other one down.
Well, the rudder won't go but one way at a time.
Yeah, it won't go one way at a time. So, but on this setup that I had, it was the cheapest thing I could get. The pedals were not tied to each other. It was not realistic as far as flying goes. They did make some that were that way. But yeah, I used to have a lot of fun doing Flight Simulator with the yoke. Had trim tabs and everything on it. So I would practice my instrument flying, or I would fly through where anything above 300 feet was in the fog. I'd set up my environment and I'd just fly from where I was to 150 miles away, land. I'd have my 3-point flight plan that was what I would use in my training. And finally my check ride, or my solo. And just
are you instrument rated
over and over again? Huh?
Are you instrument rated?
I was to the point where I was ready to go for it when 9/11 happened.
Did you pass your written?
Yes.
How long is that good for?
I don't know.
Probably have to do it again. But this is a technology show. Since we've veered into aviation, I will tell you that GPS has been a major boon to the aviation industry. I mean, they still in ground school teach how to manually calculate all these things using slide rule type equipment because, your battery could go bad or you could have a complete system failure and so forth. So I don't disagree that it's not a good idea. I don't disagree that it's a good idea to learn how to use the manual tools, but they can be very, very painful. But one of the things that has been taught vehemently throughout the aviation community is be very careful relying on your GPS equipment, because there's a story, it's a true story, of a guy who was kind of a cavalier sort of pilot who did not do all of his pre-flight planning. He had a plane with a GPS, so what he would do is he would take off, and instead of flying checkpoint to checkpoint or VOR to VOR or whatever system he was using, he would just, the GPS allows you to do a direct flight point to point, meaning you can take off in North Myrtle Beach or Myrtle Beach, which he did, to fly to Pennsylvania, and you program in a straight line into the autopilot with the GPS control. Everything works just fine. So this guy, they believe that what he would do is, and I know of people who would do this, they would go up and they would, as soon as they were off the ground, they turn on the GPS, they turn on the autopilot, then they go about doing other things, knowing that automation was going to fly the plane better than he would ever do manually. This guy took off from Myrtle Beach, which a trip he'd made several times before. It was totally instrument. So he was IFR most of the way. It didn't bother him. He programmed all the coordinates into his GPS. He turned on his autopilot.
But what about his radio? What about his radio work? You can't fly IFR without talking to.
I'm just telling you what the guy did. He did absolutely minimum to stay under the quote unquote radar, and he programmed it in. He climbed to 6,000 feet and started headed for Pennsylvania. and it didn't pay a whole lot of attention. So the problem is that as he was en route, there was a 6,234 foot mountain. And the bad news is, I guess maybe it's good news, he doesn't know when he hit that mountain. But the good news was that when the NTSB was out trying to find him, all they had to do was draw a straight line between Myrtle Beach and Pennsylvania, and they found him very quickly.
It's
Well, I mean,
the GPS that I had, even though it was an aviation GPS, and it had a yoke mount, which was pretty cool. And it had, in the database, it had an obstruction database, and would tell you if you planned a track that went through an area that had a radio tower at 2,500 feet, it would tell you that you were in danger, just like some charts will have the high, it'll say somewhere what the highest obstruction is in that chart, and you'll be able to actually tell if you're going to run into anything. But oh my gosh, the guy, how could he fly? He was flying instrument, but not real instrument, because he would have had to contact ATF to do it.
Just telling you, this was told to me by the CFI who's teaching the ground school course.
That's just insane. How many airways did he cross? What about controlled airspace? There's got to be controlled airspace.
Well, I mean, he was sitting in the pilot seat. He couldn't get up and walk around.
No, but I mean, you got to put in a transponder code if you go IFR.
Well, probably he was doing all that, but he was just very distracted, not paying attention to where he was going. I mean, I've heard stories of a guy who I knew. He was flying King Airs, and he would take off in this thing and set the autopilot, and he'd go back in the back of the plane and take a nap.
now that's ridiculous.
It worked until it didn't.
Yeah. I lost a friend. Actually, I was the first one to take him up in a small plane back in the 90s. And he had terrible motion sickness, but he was determined to overcome it so he'd get his pilot's license. And he did. And then he was killed flying through the Rocky Mountains on the way out to an air show in Nevada. Crashed into a mountain.
Well, the mountains are not going to move out of your way. It's best to respect them.
All right, let's switch from that. Is Nick here? Nick is here.
I'm here. Wait, but before we before we get to that, because Spence teased this, and I just want to bring it up quickly about the Apple issue. So this was out last week. There's a bug with Mac OS Sierra, which is 10.13, and it allows you to gain admin or root access without a password. You literally type in root, put in no password, and just press enter like 6 times, and then it just lets you in. So, kind of a.
But I think I read they fixed it.
Well, yeah, there's a way to fix it.
Yeah.
I don't believe that they put out a patch yet, but you literally just type in root, press enter, and then you just keep clicking the unlock button until it eventually just unlocks, which is quite funny. So, so for Macs that just work, don't have bugs. There you go.
All right.
So
in the new paper presented Thursday at the annual meeting of the Radiological Society of North America, a team of radiologists at Korea University report that smartphone addiction changes teenagers' brains. Using brain imaging, they argue that smartphone and internet-addicted teenagers have imbalanced brain chemistry when compared to their peers who aren't addicted to smartphones or the internet. But scientists not involved with the study have some serious issues with their research. Perhaps the most important of these issues is the fact that smartphone addiction is not a scientifically established thing, at least not yet. So there may be a problem there with using, not just using phones on the internet, but being addicted to it. So you're always on it. They found that it changes the brain of teenagers. You got to pay attention to this because something may come out later. What?
Amnon, could you hold on that for a second? I got an important call I have to make.
You're not a teenager.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
I mean, your mic's a little low. I don't know if you're too far from it or whatever, but your mic's a little low.
He's probably got his threshold set on 10 too.
Who?
Amnon's mic was a little low.
Oh yeah, he was a little.
Is a little low.
Cool this morning.
Yeah, it was a little low.
Okay, yeah. I'm a little bit far from it. Is this better?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm sure it does. I'm sure it does change your. What did you say? It changes your brain chemistry.
Yes, I mean you have imbalanced brain chemistry.
Your amygdala is enlarged, probably.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well,
Yeah,
the fact
it's not
well
surprising.
established that the different parts of your body, brain, whatever that you use, that there are certain neural pathways that are used more than others, then that part of your brain develops more than other parts of your brain. So it's shifting to other parts of the brain. That's all entirely possible. What's not said is whether it's a good thing or a bad thing.
Yeah, and unfortunately, we really don't know. But it's not. I mean, it's not surprising.
Time will tell.
Yeah, time.
Rover makes a serious error. He says that newspapers will make a rebound. I'm afraid that's gone forever.
No, I agree with him because EMP will put us all back into the 19th century.
I wouldn't trust if there's been an EMP. I wouldn't trust a newspaper.
Yeah, the newspapers will. They'll be dusting off all those old printing presses that are in warehouses somewhere.
Now,
I actually took a tour of the New York Times when I was in elementary school and saw guys typing away on the linotype machines.
Oh, sure. Well, then conservatives need to buy up all those old machines then so we can control the press whenever there's an EMP.
Well, didn't somebody just buy Time magazine that was backed by the Koch brothers?
Mm-hmm. Meredith Corporation.
Yeah.
Who did? Bought Time magazine?
Yeah, somebody bought Time magazine, and that's money. The financing of it came from the Koch brothers because they're realizing they need to buy. But why buy a magazine?
But they're not buying it. They're not buying it to use it for a political tool. They're just buying it to make money.
Well, I see some political conservatives say the way to win the hearts of people is to start buying media outlets.
Correct. Mm-hmm. But there's confusion among the people with money. The Koch brothers think that buying print media is the way to go when it's really electronic.
I think you're right.
It's like electronic media. I mean, these guys are 80 years and older. They don't realize that the newspapers are toast.
They bought Time magazine and SI and a couple of other magazines. But I mean, Time and Sports Illustrated are two pretty big publications. So,
but there's somebody bought Newsweek or one of the other rags for $1.
Yeah, I don't know who that is.
Yeah.
So
it was like buying a lawsuit so you could pay it off for somebody.
So did you, Nick, when you were looking and researching the iPhone X?
Yes.
The 10. Did you look at the Qualcomm powered or Intel powered?
Intel doesn't make an iPhone.
Okay. According to PC Magazine report that uses data from Cellular Insights, the Qualcomm powered iPhone X has better LTE performance than the Intel powered model. From the report, it says there are 3 iPhone X models sold globally. Using lab equipment, Cellular Insight tested 2 of them. The Qualcomm-powered A1865, sold by Sprint, Verizon, and US Cellular, and in Australia, China, and India. And the Intel-powered A1901, sold by most other global carriers, including AT&T and T-Mobile. The third model, a 1902, is only sold in Japan. Here in the U.S., we anticipate that the SIM-free model sold directly by Apple will be the A1865. So there are apparently 3 different ones. And
I haven't heard anything about that. I don't know.
To keep going, it says that while both Cellular Insight attenuated an LTE signal from a strong minus 85 dBm until the modem showed no performance. While both modems started out with 195 megabits of download throughput on a 20 megahertz carrier, the Qualcomm difference appeared quickly.
Oh, Amnon, you're talking about something different.
What do you mean?
You're not it's the mobile chip is either an Intel or a Qual. The phone is not made by Intel. You're
Well,
talking about
they
the
were
4G
saying-
chip.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's
Oh.
two different things.
Oh, okay.
Qualcomm
so
is
it's-
essentially the antenna, not the phone is not powered by Intel.
Well,
the phone is still a
it
Snapdragon.
doesn't say it. It says the Intel powered model.
Yeah, that's not accurate.
Okay. So apparently there's one, and that's the Qualcomm one, that is getting 67% faster than Intel modem.
It's just a different radio.
And that's interesting. I don't know if you guys remember, I told you that Marshall had a iPhone 6. It was fine, but yeah, okay, he's going to get a 7. He got a 7 and he had problems with it, with the sound. So he stopped the payment on it, and they never came after him. So he decided, okay, since I didn't pay for this one, I'm going to go and get an 8 and see if that solves my problem. And that did not solve the problem. They told him that it's a corrupted app in the phone because he was restoring it from the previous one. That did not do it. He went and got an Android. Got much better. He doesn't have good signal at home. He's got an extender or a relay thing that you put in the window. But with the Android, he got better signal, and people were not losing him. I mean, I can be talking to him, and after a couple of minutes, boom, he's gone. With the Android, it kind of worked better. But it's very interesting that there are different radios in them, and I wish I knew about this first to find out. Okay, tell him you want to find out which modem is in it.
Well, it doesn't matter what modem it's in. If it depends on your carrier, you can only use
that's
certain
true.
radios only work for certain characters, so it really doesn't really matter. But we were talking about the iPhone 10. I do not believe I'm purchasing the iPhone 10. I have read nothing but terrible reviews about it. Even from Apple typically people that are very pro Apple, saying it is not worth the $1,100 price tag. It's a very it's an early adopters fee that they think the next version will be. The next revision will be a better device and will have a cheaper price tag. So I think I'm just going to end up getting the 8
Yeah, you just
plus.
wait.
It would be.
Just wait. Absolutely.
Well, not
I
wait. I'll get the 8 plus instead of the 10.
Oh. Okay.
Because apparently the Face ID thing is not all it's cracked up to be.
Now, I want you guys' take on this. A Turkish airline flight from Nairobi to Istanbul was diverted after the detection of a Wi-Fi network called Bomb on Board that alarmed the passengers. The airline said on Thursday, from a report, it says, in a statement, Turkish Airlines said the flight made an emergency landing at the Khartoum airport in Sudan, but the flight was safely resumed after security inspections on all passengers and the aircraft. Individuals can create personal Wi-Fi network on devices such as mobile phones and name them whatever they want. So would that fall? I mean, I'm reading this and I'm saying there's got to be something that will stop people from doing this, because it's almost like yelling fire in a theater, right? In a movie theater. It makes no sense that somebody will call their network bomb on board on the airplane. I mean, unless they were really trying to cause problems.
It's a hell of a prank to pull.
You've got people stupid enough to think that that's funny, and people would think it was a joke.
Well, that's the problem. I mean, people will think it's funny to yell fire in a movie theater. But
yeah, and to some respect, it is funny until you get arrested.
Well, I mean, I don't think anybody can get arrested for doing this. I think they should.
Yeah,
I would disagree. I think the FAA would probably have, if it was under the jurisdiction of the U.S. FAA, that person would be charged with something.
I mean, isn't there? What's the crime for causing panic? I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know the
Well,
name of it. Off the top
if
of
you
my head.
if you create a disturbance on an airplane and force the airplane to be diverted or make an emergency landing or something like that, that's just like, no, gee, I'm sorry. Oh, that's fine, no problem.
Right.
Yeah.
And what if somebody had a heart attack because
Now-
we have to land? Oh gosh,
Well, here's the other thing too. Why would you spend all that money to fly and then ground your own plane? What an idiot!
Yeah.
I mean, that's it's like driving your car. Be like, I'm not going to put any gas in it. That'll really show everybody on the interstate when I break down in the middle. I mean,
I know. I mean, it
you're
makes
screwing
no
yourself.
sense. It makes no sense, and it costs a lot of money to the airline, and it costs time for the passengers. I mean, it's all just negative stuff.
That wouldn't happen in the U.S. That would be solved real quick in the
I
U.S.
hope so. We were talking about somebody who mentioned EMP before. Listen to this one. This is good. A 60-year-old electrician in Perth, Western Australia, had his termination upheld by a Labour Grievance Commission when it was determined he had been abusing his position and technical knowledge to squeeze in some recreation during work hours. Tom Colella used Mylar snack bags to block GPS tracking via his employer-assigned personal digital assistant to go out and play a round of golf. More than 140 times, while he reported he was off-site performing repairs. In his fighting against Colella, Australia, Fair War Commissioner Bernie, whoever wrote, I have taken into account that Mr. Colella openly stored his PDA device in an empty foil Twisties bag. As an experienced electrician, Mr. Colella knew that this bag would work as a Faraday cage, thereby preventing the PDA from working properly, especially the provision of regular GPS. So this guy figured out if he puts his tracking device in a snack bag that was made out of Mylar, it will shield it and his employer would not know where he is. Isn't that something? So they said, keep your bags of foil bags for the future if you ever need a Faraday cage for certain things.
Well,
So-
all you really need to do is go to work for the government, and then you got it covered. The problem is when you get to the golf course, you're probably going to see your boss there.
Well,
He's going to be caddying.
said, no, I'm not here.
Do maintenance on the eighth
Yeah.
hole.
Yeah. So it's just interesting. So you can keep those bags, and the only problem is, you can keep your phone in there in case there's an EMP. Mm-hmm. Sure. So Windows
Or
10. What? Mike?
Or you could work for a company that doesn't care if you're on the golf course so long as you've exceeded your goals and objectives.
I could go golfing. I'm a very good golfer. I have a lot of patience for golf, I'm sure.
So Windows 10 has found its way onto 600 million active devices, which is not as high as they wanted it to be by now, but still, it's growing. They're getting market share. Here's something about Ajit Pai. He's doubling down on his critique of tech companies, asking whether social media is a net benefit to American society. In remarks at the Media Institute on Wednesday, he said, "Now I will tell you up front that I don't have an answer. he made the case that social media has been key in the politicization of many aspects of American life. Everything nowadays is political. Everything. This view that politics is often made worse by social media. So he's telling it like he sees it. I like the guy.
Yeah, but according to Reddit and Twitter, he is going to destroy the internet.
Yeah, right.
And he's a Nazi.
Yeah.
And a communist too. Bad guy, wants to destroy the internet.
What else? Now, Nick, you have a Chromebook, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
a Chromebook.
Microsoft has reportedly finished testing out its Office apps on Chromebooks.
Oh,
As
cool.
a number of Chromebooks are now seeing the Office apps in the Google Play Store. So you can use Office.
Yeah,
on a
except I don't believe I have the Chromebook anymore.
Where is it?
I
Lost it somewhere?
I think I got rid of it.
Oh.
You left it on the side of the road?
I did something with it. I don't. It was a great device for a while. It just.
You didn't turn it into the Chromebook Rescue?
Well, I did. I put Ubuntu on it and used that for a while. And then I just. Oh no! Yeah. Oh, this is what the problem was. I let it die for 6 months or whatever, and the battery just stopped holding a charge, and the battery soldered on. So I'm pretty sure I just threw it away because it wasn't useless. That's what the nice thing about those things are so cheap. $150. You're
So
get a new one if you want it.
Tish is asking in the chat. So, what is everyone hoping to get for Christmas?
Oh, that's a perfect question. Actually, this is what I wanted to bring up during the specials, but I forgot.
Okay.
If somebody you know has an Amazon Echo device, a great gift for them that you're probably not thinking of, and Amnon ordered a couple of these, I ordered a couple as well, are the Wi-Fi smart switches that you can turn on and off using voice commands.
Mm-hmm.
Those they're a little pricey depending on which ones you get.
If you get the two, it's the best price.
So Echo City makes the pack of two that are pretty reasonably priced, but they're very cool and they're a little pricey.
E-Tech City. Yeah.
Is that what it is? E-Tech City?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're on. These are $30 for two of them, and some of the TP-Link ones are almost $30 themselves. So you can get these things, and
the main thing with these is that they don't need a hub.
No. They're just, you hook them to you do an ad hoc to your phone.
Right.
Once it's connected to your phone, you connect it to your actual home Wi-Fi network, and then you download the Alexa skill for it.
Mm-hmm.
You name it, and then you can say, Echo. Now, of course, now it's talking. You can
Alexa.
tell it to turn. Yes, you can tell it to turn bedroom light on, or lamp, or Christmas tree, or whatever you may have a link to it. So.
I was setting.
They make a good gift.
I was setting it up last night. One of them, while I was talking with Sean, and I was following the direction and do this, and then it came up and it says, "Okay, try to say, outlet, turn on the Christmas tree." And I said, "Okay, now that's going to be really interesting. What's going to happen because we don't have one." It was, you say the Christmas tree is mentioned in the instructions.
Yeah.
But yes, you can name it whatever you want, and it was easy to set up. Absolutely.
Yeah, they're great little, and they're not too terribly expensive. If you need something for somebody that's, $30 or $40.
And that's two of them. You get two of them for that.
Yeah, that's two of them.
Yeah.
I really pushed my parents to use it. When I first bought them the Echo and the smart switch last year for Christmas, they'd constantly still click the light on and off. So I just took the clicker off.
Yep,
so they
you
could
have
no longer
to
do that. And Now every time they come home, and the other thing too, it doesn't just work with the Echo device. You would install the app on your phone and you can turn the lights on and off remotely. So if you go out to the store and you forget to leave the lamp on in the living room, you can turn it on from your phone. So it works with the Echo. It works. Some of them work. You have to verify it works with your device. The ones that Amnon and I got, the one I posted a link to, only works for Alexa. It does not work for Google Home, IFTTT, or Home.
Not yet,
which
right?
Is Apple.
Yeah, they say not yet. They probably will do something, but it's fine.
So
it's great.
Yeah, you combine that with one of the dots, you can get those for. I
Mhm.
think you get both those for just a little over $50. I would think.
I think they had them.
So.
They still may have them for $30, $29.95. I don't know if it was. Just...
That's what, I think you can get that in the dot. Well, maybe like $60 for that in the dot.
I see what you mean. Both, yeah.
So if you want to get somebody started on some, home automation. I don't know if that's some home automation stuff. That might be the way to do it.
It's more of a gimmick. It's nice. It's.
No, I
fun.
disagree. It's a gimmick. I completely disagree.
I mean, for lights. I mean, Kathy got tired of telling Alexa, especially if the TV is on and stuff. So she started using the remote control that came with the older ones. She's not using that anymore because I took the hand
switches out.
Yeah.
Yep.
But it's fine. I mean, I still like to use it.
Yeah, I think it's convenient, especially if you got your hands full or you're just walking into a room and you're
right
doing something.
Yep.
Problem is that my wife talks to it like one of the kids. Alexa, turn off. Alexa. It gets a little old hearing that.
Yeah.
They're cool little devices though. So if you're looking for something cheap for somebody, relatively cheap for somebody that has an Amazon voice assistant, and it doesn't even have to be that one. I mean, TP-Link sells one, but that seems to be the best deal because the TP-Link one's about $30 itself.
Yeah, but that's a good thing.
Yeah, so
it's a useful thing, especially for that kind of price, and especially if the person already has an Echo. Go for
sure.
it. And not only that, but you can with your phone. You know how everybody that goes on vacation, okay, let's put a timer.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
You can, with your phone, you can just click it, and it doesn't matter how many you have because they are named differently. You can turn lights on and off.
And these ones also have timers on them as well.
Yeah.
So you can do a digital timer as well.
And not only
I did post a link to what I was talking about.
Where is it?
That's right after USS Rover's 3D printer comment.
There's
okay. They were on sale for Cyber Monday. I know Amnon ordered a couple. I ordered my parents another set for.
There's another great thing.
So.
Another great thing about them, Mike. They have a log that will show you how much electricity was used by that outlet.
Well, that's important.
Well, I mean, it is. It depends what. I mean, you can only put on a 10 amp. They said don't load it with more than 10 amps.
So don't plug your fridge into it.
Well, right. I'm going to go ahead and tell you this just for the heck of it. E-Tech City is very, very low quality stuff. It is the ultimate in cheapness.
When it comes
to $30 for two of them, obviously.
Well, no, the only reason I'm not talking about price. I'm talking quality.
Yeah.
What that means is that, and maybe they've stepped their game up a little bit in the last couple of years. If they've gotten good status with Amazon would probably force them to up their game a little bit. But anytime, and I just had this conversation with my daughter last night, anytime you get some of this cheap Taiwanese crap electrical stuff, you keep an eye on it. If you pay attention, if you see it getting discolored or warm or whatever, you get rid of it. You do not need a house fire because of some cheap Chinese crap.
I don't remember when we installed the switches, those outlets, not like this one, but we have the older ones that are not Wi-Fi, and you turn them into Wi-Fi by using the hook hub. Mm-hmm. It's been over a year, but I mean, you control those outlets, and they've been working so far, and they are E-Tech City.
Yeah.
and they've been working fine. And I do listen to Mike, and I go every now and then and I touch it to see, and everything so far so good.
So my daughter asked me last night, what is the difference between, Spencer, you can weigh in on this one. What's the difference between an electrical outlet extension cord or outlet strip that says rated for indoor outdoor versus rated for indoor only? What is the technical difference between the two?
I have no idea.
I can tell you
Except maybe because you see that you've got Christmas lights that are rated indoor, outdoor, or indoor only. That's a good point.
I can tell you what happened with a red extension cord. You know, those red extension cords, the long ones, that was probably not rated for outdoors. I strung one between the garage and a shed that we have outside. And after a while, I walked underneath it, and I look up there, and it wasn't red anymore. And looking at it closer, all the red outer jacket fell apart, and all I had, like in a
wasn't UV resistant,
right? And it probably for a distance of about maybe, I mean, altogether it's about 50 feet, about 20 feet of it, right in the middle, was just the 3 wires hanging out in.
Wow.
Guess what? The difference is not what you think. The difference is that the outdoor cables have better insulation and better protection from oil and chemicals and sunlight.
Right. Sunlight's the biggie. That's what Amnon's referring to.
Yeah.
But the reason I asked the question, I mean, it's kind of the reason I'm asking the question is because in many cases, the only difference is that one has been tested for outdoor use. It may be the same product that has not been tested for outdoor use.
And outdoor ones typically
Right.
will be grounded.
Well,
Indoor ones are also at this point, but it's
But yeah, you look at an outlet strip that there's no difference between how it's protected from water or anything like that.
no.
So,
well, I will tell you that, and I've said this last year, I think, and when you go out buying these really cheap electrical outlets, these outlet strips and things, as much as I'll just tell you, I don't buy anything that's not UL rated.
Yep.
UL rating is not a panacea. It does not solve all the problems. But if you look at how little metallic content there is in some of these cheap, crappy ones, they scare me.
I've wound up putting new ends on most of my extension cords because I've worn out the molded ones and just got to the point where they were not reliable anymore. I was afraid that using some of my power tools. So I went and bought fairly good replacement ends, plugs and receptacles for them.
I actually do the same thing. If the cord's in good shape, and get rid of the molded ends. I mean, they work fine as long as you pay attention to them. But the problem is
when you prepare the ends of the wire, make sure you wick them up with solder first before you put them into the.
Well, that's debatable. That's debatable because some people say that the solder weakens them.
Yeah.
And they'll make them break.
You just can't get a good twist on that wire. The braided wire just is not suitable for some of these. If it's a pinch connector, yeah, that's fine. But if you're wrapping it around a terminal, sometimes the braided wire just does not hold down properly.
Yeah, I don't know the answer. Right. That's just like twisting electrical wires before you put on a wire nut. There's no consensus.
I do.
Oh, after you said that, Mike, I went and read stories about it. It was interesting that people were actually getting hostile over it.
Yes. It's a very emotional issue.
Yeah.
Get a life. Right? You want to go and say, get a life. All right. It's about that time of day again. Is there anything else anybody wants to add here?
No.
No.
Yeah, we accept all forms of honoraria here. Cash is always best.
I bought Bitcoin this week.
You what?
Good. It'll plummet next week.
That's 1/10 of 1,000th of a.
I bought $25 worth of Bitcoin.
Did you see how high it went?
All right.
Yeah, I bought it.
so
I
what
bought it
time-
when it crashed earlier in the week. It went down to dropped about $3,000 Wednesday afternoon. So I purchased $25 worth, and now it's back up to, I don't know what it's at.
It's
If
a
anybody
10.
listens to the Federalist podcast, I think it
Yep.
was either Thursday or Friday, probably Thursday. They had a Bitcoin lawyer on there, technology lawyer for a company that manages cryptocurrencies, and talked about it. If you're interested in listening to a roughly 40-minute or so, not real technical. It gets into more of the business side of cryptocurrencies. It's pretty good. The Federalist podcast.
I've never heard of it. Where is it?
You can just go to thefederalist.com and they have it listed there. It's Ben Dominich is the guy that runs the Federalist. It's a Washington-based conservative. I wouldn't call it a think tank, but they have a lot of good. What I like about it is they'll interview interesting people that you would normally think, oh, if I listen to this person, my head is going to explode. But they have very good. They don't compromise their principles, but they have very good interview skills. Who was the guy who was a big advisor for Obama's election?
Dick Morris.
No, not Dick Morris. Newer than that. He's still around. But they interviewed him, and I thought, I'm going to hate this. And actually, it was a really good interview, and I got a lot out of it, and I actually understood the guy a little better. What was his name? But good, they'll have anybody that'll come on the show. Sometimes they'll go off into outer space. They'll talk about Star Wars. But a lot of the people that are part of the Federalist appear on the news. Some of them are on CNN. Some of them are on Fox.
And what did you say the website is?
Thefederalist.com, I think. I'll check.
Thefederalist.com, because it's not federalist.com.
I'll check. Uh-oh. I'm looking. Thefederalist.com.
Thefederalist.com.
Yeah. Yep.
John says he bought $5 worth of Bitcoin a couple of years ago. It's now worth $468.
Well, damn. I wish I didn't sell mine. I'm an idiot.
Well, I had a friend who bought a bunch of them at 300.
I mined a whole bunch of it and sold it for $1,200. It'd probably be worth
I'm sorry, I did. That is so high risk. That's money you better be willing to just throw in the trash can.
What do you mean?
Mining.
No, I mined them years ago. I said I mined them and then sold
got
them.
The guy talks about this on the podcast about mining and what it used to take. You could have any computer you could mine with.
I mined out a whole bunch of computers in high school. Yeah, it was great.
Now,
The Federalist Radio Hour.
yeah, that's the Federalist Radio. That's it. Ben Dominich is the principal host, but there are other people that host the show.
Oh, this is Mary Catherine Ham.
Yes, she's part of it. Yep.
How do cryptocurrent Pete Van Valkenburg?
Yep. He's with an outfit.
I do this every day.
They're on every day. Yeah, it's every day.
How often do you listen to it? Every day?
All right. All right.
No, maybe I catch 2 or 3 a week. It depends on what I'm doing that day. If I'm able to put my
All right, guys.
my headphones under my hearing protection and when I'm working.
Keep your pants on them, man.
But
So
if I'm driving far, I'll have a chance to listen.
that's it for today. Thanks, Mike, Spence, Nick, and good morning to Kathy, Hannah, Nabil, Mac, Norm, Katie, and Donna. Thanks everybody for tuning to Computers 2K Now. We hope you enjoyed and maybe learned something from our time together here. Remember to practice safe computing, update your virus scanner, and back up your hard drive. We'll be here next Sunday at 9, but you can always reach us at computers2know.com. While you're at it, like us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Tonight at 7, Nick Craig hosts Against the Norm on Wilmington's Big Talker 106.7. Listen on tuning.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. If you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section at nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by Telestream's Wirecast software, StreamingGear.com, Carolina Apparel, and DeltaForce.net.